All right, Agatha All Along, episode 6. Billy Maximoff is here, the son of Wanda Maximoff, aka the Scarlet Witch. There's a lot to break down in this video. We're going to tell you everything you need to know to understand what is happening right now with Agatha All Along, and also help you understand what is coming in the future from Marvel Studios when it comes to the Maximoff family. I'm talking the Scarlet Witch, Billy, of course, his brother Tommy, and of course, Vision. And there are some questions that this episode leaves us with, but Marvel Studios has actually already answered these questions with a lot of footage that they've already released. So we're going to go over the big important parts of this episode, help you understand it, give you the backstory of a lot of these characters from the comics to help you further understand what's going on here, and then answer those leftover questions. But first, of course, let's start off with Billy Maximoff. This is the same Billy that we met in the WandaVision series, Wanda's son, and this was actually a pretty big WandaVision episode of Agatha. So in WandaVision, Wanda took over the town of Westview, and we actually get kind of an insight on to what it was like to be one of the people who were taken over by Wanda and her magic. We get a first-hand account actually from Ralph Boner. Evan Peters has returned, unfortunately not as Quicksilver, but Ralph Boner returning is exciting nonetheless. And he is messed up now because we learned that not only did he get kind of taken over by the Scarlet Witch, but then Agatha came along, and then not only did she control him, but she also took over his house and basically destroyed his life. Now, nobody in Westview's lives are pretty perfect at this point in time, but at least they still went back to what they had before. Ralph Boner kind of didn't get that opportunity. But in the events of WandaVision, Wanda magically created her children, her twin boys, Billy and Tommy, or William and Thomas. Now, of course, if you watch the end of WandaVision, you saw that her children went away. Wanda created them with magic and seemingly used magic to get rid of them because they weren't entirely real. However, it does seem like they did have souls. And this is where it gets pretty interesting because the story they're telling in the MCU right now with WandaVision and Agatha All Along is not too different than the comic story. And it gives us a really good understanding of what is happening. In the comics, Wanda does create two children with magic. However, ultimately, Agatha Harkness, who was not an enemy of hers, but actually a very close family friend in the comics, realizes what actually has happened. Her two children are actually pieces of Mephisto, the demon or devil of the underworld. Eventually, he takes the twins back, but Agatha Harkness erases the twins from Wanda's memory. And also, little fun fact, Doctor Strange was the one to deliver Wanda's children. But here's the kicker. Yes, Mephisto reabsorbed the children as a part of him, but the twins actually fight back against Mephisto, and they overpowered him thanks to their mother's love and influence on them. So by defeating Mephisto, their souls became free, and they were eventually reincarnated. Now, going back to this episode of Agatha All Along, that is exactly what happened with Billy and Tommy, of course, but Tommy's not in this. And something that's really interesting is the rules of magic. We've heard quite a bit about some rules that have been set forth in the Agatha All Along series. For example, in the first episode at the end, where Rio, who I am still very sure is death and actually kind of have more evidence now, more on that in a bit, Rio goes to Agatha to try and kill her, but Agatha says she can't because it's not allowed. Also at the end of this episode, Agatha says that Billy broke the rules, and I think that these are Death's rules, who of course would be Rio. But nonetheless, Agatha says that he broke the rules by basically being reincarnated into a dead body. And that's what we see happen in this episode. We meet Billy Kaplan, in which that is his name in the comics as well. Before he realizes that he is the reincarnated son of Wanda Maximoff, his name is Billy Kaplan. So we meet Billy Kaplan in Agatha All Along. He seems like a nice Jewish boy with very nice parents. He's having his bar mitzvah in this, and he's having a really good time. He does run into Lilia in this, and we do see Alice as well. She's the cop that shows up when Billy gets in the car crash, but more on them in a bit. Unfortunately, his bar mitzvah gets interrupted because of what is going on in Westview with the Scarlet Witch. Now, Billy and his family live in Eastview, which is right by Westview. So everything that is going on in Westview is affecting them. An emergency has been called, so they need to go back home. Unfortunately, as his mother is driving, they are looking at the magical barrier that Wanda put over the town of Westview, and they all look out the window and they are noticing that it looks like it is shrinking. It's going away, and that is exactly what was happening. So at this point in time in WandaVision, this is where Wanda essentially undid everything. But more specifically and importantly, this is where her kids went away. Now, unfortunately, them looking at the magical barrier causes them to get into an accident where Billy Kaplan dies. But since the soul of Billy Maximoff was being destroyed at that point in time, it managed to make its way into the empty body, since it was dead, of Billy Kaplan, thus essentially reincarnating him. Now, he has zero recollection of his past life with his mother, but when he woke up when he was reincarnated, what he was saying was Tommy, his brother, which was most likely the last thing that he was saying before they disappeared from existence, temporarily, till they got reincarnated. He was in the room with his brother, and as everything was going down, he was probably scared and yelled out for his brother, Tommy. And since then, he has always sensed his brother is out there somewhere. So his brother Tommy has been reincarnated as well, it seems, and we're going to get to him most likely in Vision Quest, where their father, Vision, returns as well. But Billy can't remember anything. However, he can sense that he is somewhat magical. He can read people's minds, and he started studying the event that happened in Westview. And via leaked footage, he discovered runes, the runes that Wanda used in the final fight against Agatha in WandaVision. So this gets him into witchcraft. It also leads him to want to discover more of what happened in Westview. So he comes across somebody on Reddit, and it's Ralph Boner himself. He learns about Wanda Maximoff, and he specifically learns that Wanda had two twin boys, Billy and Tommy, and he learns that they disappeared. So he pretty much starts to put everything together. He realizes he died, Billy Kaplan died, and Wanda's twins essentially died as well. And he realizes that he is not Billy Kaplan, but he is actually Billy Maximoff, and he learns about the Witch's Road thanks to Lorna Wu, the famous singer of the Ballad of the Witch's Road, and also, of course, mother of Alice Wu, who I don't believe is dead, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But as he's figuring things out, he writes down Wanda Maximoff, Vision, Tommy Maximoff, Billy Maximoff. Wanda, he says, is dead, Vision is dismantled, and Tommy, he writes, is missing. Then through some pretty good detective work, he finds out that Agatha Harkness, who, of course, he found out about through reading Ralph Boner's mind, he found out that she was the only survivor of the Witch's Road. And the Ballad of the Witch's Road was playing as he discovered that. He quickly goes to his book that talks about the Witch's Road, and it reads, "At the end, a witch may find what's missing." And this is where we basically find that he wants to find his brother, who he wrote down on the paper is missing. Then we get to the very end, and Agatha asks what he wants. It's not power because he already has power, so she says, yeah, that's not it. Big magic is already in the bag for you. Then what's really interesting is she says, is it find Mama? No, she chose a town full of strangers over her own flesh and wires. And wires obviously referring to Vision. But what's interesting is that Agatha says, find Mama. This really, really heavily implies that the Scarlet Witch is alive. And we've been talking about this a lot on the channel. Marvel basically already confirmed this, and they essentially confirm it right here as well. Wanda is alive. If she was dead, Agatha would say she was dead, but Agatha can probably sense that she is alive. The only reason that Billy wrote down that she was dead on his piece of paper is because Ralph Boner said that she was dead. But here it clearly seems that Agatha knows that the Scarlet Witch is alive. Nobody knows where she is, but she is still out there. Insiders say that the Scarlet Witch is going to play a very important role in the multiverse saga, specifically in Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. So her return is pretty much imminent at this point. There's also been some reports that Billy and Agatha are going to search for Tommy together, possibly in a special presentation or another Disney Plus show. But at the same time, there have been reports that there's going to also be a character named Teen in the Vision series. And I am really curious about this because it seems like Vision is going to create an android or synthezoid family. And I am curious if the spirit of Tommy could actually possess or get reincarnated into one of those synthezoids, because that could be a way that he could return, or he is just in some person out there who we'll soon discover. But the way everything is being set up right now, progression wise, is for Billy to ultimately find Tommy. Agatha will essentially end up mentoring Billy and helping him control his powers, because it's revealed in this episode that he doesn't know how. Agatha has also been getting kind of better, like as in a better person. And Agatha does mentor Wanda, aka the Scarlet Witch, in the comics, so this would be kind of a cool play. Instead of mentoring Wanda, she mentors her son, Billy. So Billy finds Tommy, Tommy and Billy find Vision because he is returning, and then ultimately the three of them find the Scarlet Witch. That seems to be the progression of how this specific story is going to happen in the MCU. Also, side note / weird prediction, Ralph Boner mentioned that he was doing a one-man show in Paramus. He said they could pay by going to see that, or they could give him cash. I wouldn't be surprised if this ended up being the post-credit scene of the series, Billy actually going to see his one-man show. It wouldn't be my first choice, obviously, or probably any choice at all, but it seems like something Marvel Studios might do. I hope not. I hope it's a really big post-credit scene setting something up, hopefully for the Scarlet Witch, Tommy, or Vision, or all of them, but we'll see. Now, in the beginning of this episode, we find out that Lilia was actually the person who cast the sigil on Billy. Now, based off of what we've seen so far, we obviously know that she is a witch. So when she is actually reading Billy's palm, his future, it's real, genuine witchcraft and fortune telling. As she's reading his palm, she realizes that his lifeline is broken in two. Now, when Lilia tells him this, she is clearly terrified of what she has seen. She plays it off like it's nothing, saying, hey, there's, important life changes, a new you're becoming a man. But of course, she seemingly knows that this kid's going to die and another life is going to go inside of him. That's why it's broken. And she might have seen into the future, and she might know that it is actually Wanda Maximoff's son, Billy Maximoff's spirit, that will eventually go into the body. And that could be why she made the sigil. And if she did see into the future, she might have seen herself with him and with Agatha and the rest of them. And that could be why she did the sigil as well, because she might have realized that she does need to go down the witch's road because she wants the reward at the end, basically whatever she wants. So in order to protect herself, because as we've learned, the sigil also works on the person who did it, she put the sigil on him. But I'm sure we're going to find out why she did it in future episodes. And for those thinking that she is dead because Agatha said that Billy killed her and Jen, they're not dead. Marvel actually already showed us that they are not dead. In their mid-season trailer that they released a couple of days ago, we can see them in many different scenes. It looks like they actually kind of go under the gook and end up in some space. But regardless, we see them in other trials. We actually see them dressed up as Disney characters in one of them. And Billy is actually Maleficent in one of them. Really excited to see where this goes, but the two of them are alive, that's confirmed. And we also see a shot of Alice in the mid-season trailer. Now, she is still lying on the floor and her eyes are closed, but she does not look like she did at the end of episode 5. Her skin has seemingly recovered. She looks kind of normal, besides the fact that her eyes are closed and she's laying on the floor. But I predicted last week that Rio, or Death, might have actually been saving her, perhaps because she knows they need her for the Witch's Road. Otherwise, I don't know why her skin would be back to normal. If she was dead, Rio or Death would simply just take her. That was her plan anyways, at least that's what she said. Agatha kills and then she'll collect the bodies. So the fact that she kind of looks normal in this scene, I'm gonna say that she's probably come back to life. And last but not least, about Rio/Death, we did get a pretty big confirmation in that mid-season trailer where she said specifically, this was Aubrey Plaza saying this, she says, in the end, all roads lead to me, and that is death. In the end, everybody dies. And no matter what you do in your life, or no matter what road you are on, eventually you will die. And they actually show us her in her full Green Witch outfit here. So yeah, we might have been left with some questions after this episode, but Marvel answered them a few days ago with this mid-season trailer. Yes, Jen and Lilia are alive. It looks like Alice might be alive as well. And yeah, Rio Vidal, the Green Witch, she's death. All roads lead to her. And Marvel has basically confirmed at this point in time that the Scarlet Witch is not dead, especially in this episode, with Agatha basically asking Billy if he wanted to find Mama, heavily implying that she is alive. I mean, it's all but confirmed, and Marvel is basically saying that at this point. And Tommy is out there somewhere. Perhaps Agatha and Billy do team up and get their own special presentation or Disney Plus show to go find them, or maybe they find Tommy in Vision Quest. Ultimately, it will lead to the reunion of the Maximoff family, which will probably be cut pretty short when they go into Avengers Doomsday or Avengers Secret Wars. So that was Agatha episode 6. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below. Do you like this series so far? Do you not? Are you curious to see what is coming next? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you can stay up to date on all Agatha breakdowns and of course other MCU news as well. And you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.